Welcome to Beyond the Binary, the show, where we explore the complex and diverse experiences of individuals who are part or ally of the LGBTQ community. I'm V. Belnier, and I'm thrilled to have Astro Gallant join us today for an enlightening conversation.
Hey, I'm Astro. I go by he, it, she pronouns. I'm very excited to be here, but also extremely nervous.
Now, without further delay, let's get on with today's discussion.
Absolutely. Ready when you are.
I think we should start with your interests. What do you do in your spare time?
I play the drums occasionally, but mostly just draw or read.
Oh, that's cool. Let's move on to your queer identity. You've indicated that you are bisexual and gender fluid. Can I ask about your coming out adventure a little bit?
Well, in 7th grade, I got a crush on one of my friends, and I told my mom. She said she didn't care, and she would love me no matter what. She told me that she was going to tell my dad, so she told my dad, and my dad was a little weird at first, but he got over it. And in 8th grade, I told my mom I was gender fluid, and she didn't really understand. She still doesn't really understand, but she's trying her best. And I haven't told my dad, but that's just because of the first reaction I got when I came out with my sexuality.
Now, how did the rest of your family react?
My aunt Julie, she was one of the first people to ever actually accept me and call me by the right name, along with my cousins who are her children and her husband. My other aunts and the rest of my family are still kind of struggling, but I don't really care because I see them like 2 times a year at most, like Christmas and occasionally Thanksgiving. So,
How did your peers react?
my friends at the time didn't really care and accepted me fully and called me by the right name and pronouns practically immediately, and even if we aren't friends anymore, they still do. Classmates, on the other hand, at the time didn't really accept me, and a lot of them asked me disrespectful questions, and one of them even dead named me in front of the entire class.
So, Astro, you're a student at Odyssey. What grade are you in?
I am in 10th grade.
So, you've mentioned that you have ADHD. How does that affect an average school day?
At school, it's kind of difficult to focus because of the noises, like when people tap their pens or pencils, or someone bouncing their leg, or literally any noise that can happen in the classroom that most people won't focus on or won't even hear, but I will. And a lot of my classes don't pique my interest, so that's even more difficult added with the noise.
How does it affect your average day at home?
Well, my mom tends to get frustrated at me because of some of the ADHD traits I have because they bother her OCD, so I'm trying to get better to focus on the stuff I have to do at home. And the fact that it is very difficult for me because of the fact that people with ADHD tend to like forget to be hungry, air quotes. Um so like I could go like a day or two without eating at home or even at school, and I wouldn't notice until I would start feeling faint.
How have your parents treated your disorder? Do you find any connection between how they see your ADHD and how they see your queer identity?
My dad is more understanding of my ADHD than my mom, but I think that's just because he has it as well, and my mom kind of like doesn't believe, air quotes, that I have it, but that's fine. And I honestly don't really see any connection because being queer and having ADHD is kind of like taboo at my house because like my mom doesn't like talking about it because of her family, and my dad just doesn't like talking about it because of my stepmom.
What change in your day-to-day life, school and home, would make it easier to live with your ADHD?
Well, at school I have small fidgets and music, even if some classes don't allow me to have music. I just find it easier to do stuff if I just have my headphones in and I just do my own thing in my own way. But I think what would make it easier at home is if my mom understood more about ADHD and not blame it on other things.
Who's one person you look up to? Why do they come to mind?
I'd have to say my Aunt Julie. She has always been there for me no matter what, and she helped me get through school while I was getting bullied for either my queer identity or just in general. And she's super nice and kind, always accepting of others, and I've always wanted to be like her.
How has she helped you personally?
She's given me a lot of advice about my ADHD in school. She's helped me through a lot of self doubt and self hatred as well.
Now, would you be comfortable telling me about your partner? How'd you guys meet?
My partner is probably the best person in my life right now. They have always been there for me, and I have always been there for him. We met in June of 2022 online on Discord, and sadly, we still have yet to meet in person because we're broke. But we have been planning to have him come down in March 2024.
You mentioned before we hit record that you are interested in a book series called Heaven Officials' Blessings. What made you interested in the books?
I got interested in it because of the queer representation and the weird, confusing lore that just pulls you in and leaves you with more questions and kind of has you like wanting to buy more of the books just to find out. It's a really fun read and teaches you some new cultures, specifically Chinese culture.
What would you say to someone thinking of reading them?
That if you find reading and occasionally seeing gore or sexual content bothersome, I don't suggest it, but if you like that stuff and you like confusing timelines, I definitely recommend.
What is one thing you would like to teach our audience about today?
ADHD isn't a disease, and it isn't something you can just randomly gain by like eating something or getting sick. A lot of people don't understand that ADHD is a disability, and it's not cool to lie to people saying you have it.
This has been Beyond the Binary, the show, where we explore the complex and diverse experiences of individuals who are part or ally of the LGBTQ community. This episode was produced by V. Bernier, which is I, and written by Alex Harris. We can be reached at v.belnier.btb@gmail.com. If you enjoyed this episode, please let us know in the comment section. And remember, there's always a fruitiness before your very eyes. Thank you for watching, and thank you for being here. This is V. Bernier signing off. Until next time.
This video was recorded on the unceded, unsurrendered traditional land of the Mi'kmaq and the Wolastoqey, governed by the Treaties of Peace and Friendship. These lands, along with many others, are indigenous lands, and we acknowledge whose land we occupy.
A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step.
La vie est comme une caméra. Focus sur ce qui est important. Capture les bons moments. Développe à partir des négatifs. Et si quelque chose ne fonctionne pas, prends une autre photo.